Hello, shooters, loaders, and casters. Welcome to the Georgia Shooting Connection Friday night live stream. Hope y'all had a good week. CW, can't run an iPad. How was your week, brother?
It was good till today. My iPad tried to do a restart this morning, and it told me no, and it gave me all kinds of problems. And it was my late wife's, and it wanted her passwords, which I had, and then it wanted to send stuff to her email, which I couldn't do. So it doesn't. We're not on speaking terms right now. So I'm on the cell phone with about a quarter of my battery left. So we'll see how far I go. But I had a good week. Nice weather. Got a lot done. So good stuff. Ricky, how was your week?
Oh, it was pretty good. I got a lot of reloading done. Got some other stuff made today and all kinds of things going on. Got a good week, I guess. So
Good to hear. Good to hear. Walter, how about you?
Well, I had a better week than last week, but only by about that much. As you guys know, I had a fairly serious non-social encounter with a swarm of kidney stones in my left kidney, and we had them busted up last week, and so I've been trying to get rid of all of the pieces, and I can't get them. I got them all deported except for one. I think I'm going to have to call ICE in on this one. And
God bless you, sir.
Extracted.
So we got this one last piece that's just not wanting to move. But other than that, I got out into the loading bench and was doing stuff, keeping me close to home because I'm drinking about 1.5 gallons of water a day, so you can't get too far away from a bush.
Yep.
So anyway, yeah, I got some stuff done. Got a few videos put out. Stuff that I'd kind of had some, the footage already done and ready to rock and roll. So I didn't have to go shooting, but I ain't been shooting in over 2 weeks, and it's driving me nuts. So not a bad week, all things considered. Get rid of that one last piece, and I'm going to be a happy dude. But anyway, how about you, Pat, in the bunker? What's happening over your way?
Well, I'm glad I'm down in the bunker since it's about 104 degrees and feels like 110, so it's nice and cool down here. So this week, man, just trying to survive some heat, making sure everything's watered and all my cattle are in good shape through this heat, making sure that they've got trees in the right pastures and everything. Got some holster problems, which that's in some videos on my channel, which as some of you have seen. But working through that and doing some racing and still shooting out on my range, trying to get better with that T-Sauce 1911. Catching more onto that dot, but other than that, man, just trying to survive the heat. Just trying to survive the heat. So far, the bunker is the best place to be. So anyway, Rebel, what you been up to, brother?
Tired, hot. Business is slow this time of year. Always has been. And I've been through the kidney stone thing, Walter, and I feel for you.
Thanks.
Chick-fil-A lemonade, just every once in a while. It's so acidic that it literally will eat kidney stones while you're watching. So it might make that big booger a little easier to pass. All right.
Not for me.
Well,
believe me, after 40 years of these things and more than 25 kidney stones, believe me, we've tried all of the fixes. I just got a metabolic defect. Nothing stops them.
Yikes.
Bummer.
They're not even scared of the hat.
Maybe that's it. Maybe I got to wear a different hat.
They're resilient.
Yeah, there you go.
Resilient.
I'm going to go down to Kyle, and then he can go up to Sid. How's that? So how's it been, Kyle?
Hot and humid.
Yeah.
It is definitely swampy season, if that makes sense to anybody.
It makes sense to me.
Got my Argentine bullets casted up. Let them rest for a little bit. Got them powder coated. Got them sized. and actually got my first one loaded. Need to get to the range. Jamie, if I'm going to blow my face off with a 100-year-old rifle, I want somebody there as a witness to video it.
Yeah. Of
They'll
course.
shoot.
Do what, Jamie?
They'll shoot.
Yeah, I know. Well, anyway, that's what I got. How about you? What you up to, buddy?
Oh man, it's been a week. Winding down, closer, getting ready for some time off. I got to start frantically loading some ammo for this thing right here.
Yeah, me too, Jamie.
Yeah, I gotta get busy and get some ammo loaded for our trip, and then looking forward to meeting some of you guys. I hope as many of you as possibly can join us up there. There's Ron 2A Mattis.
Jamie, what do you need to get loaded up? As long as I got the stuff to do it here, I can load some up, or we can get together and load them together, or I can run to you, or you can run to me, and we can drop some stuff off. So
6.5 Creedmoor, I have to do that myself.
yeah, I can't help you.
I'm picky with that anyway, but maybe some 44. I want to take Christian Gress sent me an email wanting to know what everybody's bringing. And it ain't like I've ignored his email. I mean, he sent it over a week ago. But Christian, if you're listening, I ain't ignoring you. I'm thinking. It just takes a while. And
Don't start any
Saffron.
fires. Goodness gracious.
Saffron.
do what?
Don't start any fires. All that thinking.
Oh, I know, man. That's what that burning wood smell is.
Yeah.
Look, I hope Christian didn't think I was jumping on him. He asked what was the itinerary, what was the agenda, and I finally answered and said, there is no agenda.
Be there, show up, have a good time. That's it. Be safe.
Yeah, we go with the flow, and I clap my hands and go, hey, you guys want to go to the range? Yeah, sure. Well, we'll go to the range. Hey, you guys want to go to lunch? Not ready yet. Okay, fine. I'm that kind of host. So
Well,
That's what next Sunday, Monday.
yeah, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday.
Gotcha.
yeah, driving in Sunday.
I think Sunday's going to be more of the recovery, getting the hotel, stretch, call me and say, here's who's here, and blah, 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 blah. Then we'll meet up at Bullseye. We really haven't determined the time, and I don't know what time these fiddle farts get up in the morning. It's probably all different times, but I'm going to at least say, for the sake of heat, be there by 9 o'clock, for heaven's sake. Let's make the most out of it.
Right.
And,
I would, Christian's here. I guess he heard us. Did you hear us talking a while ago, man? I was saying how I wasn't ignoring your email about what everybody's bringing to shoot and all that kind of stuff. It's just I've been thinking about it. And I think I'm going to bring my 44 stuff, my Bond 94, my 6.5 Creedmoor for distance, and maybe my Smith revolvers.
nice. Nice.
357.
The first range we're going to, like I said, Hot Pot's going to have a blast because, and I didn't tell Hot Pot, but the guy that's also a member of the club that's going to be my additional host for you guys, because we're only supposed to have so many under us, at a time. So he's coming to cover the rest. He used to be a champion IPSC shooter. He's gone up against the likes of Rob Latham and all kind of people. So he's also pretty shy and doesn't say too much. And I'm sure he'll start talking to Gene and Maybe Gene will learn a thing or two. Maybe Jeep will learn a thing or two. We'll see.
So yeah, Christian sent you a link, man. Come on if you can. Yeah, today's the 20th, so we'll 10 days. I got a week to get all my crap together, and maybe some of you guys ain't planned on it or whatever. I mean, it's the week of 4th of July. We'll probably be making some videos and stuff, and we're trying to make it as affordable as possible for everybody. So Pat and a Bunker and G23 are having their own little private conversation over there.
It happens.
Yeah, just a little one.
7.7 Japanese people are insulted. Okay, before we get into the main topic, and I'm hoping Christian will be on here in a minute. Before we get on the main topic, today is the 50th anniversary of something I consider fairly significant. I hope y'all been watching the news. You already know what it is. So tell me what happened 50 years ago today. Anybody?
Hang on.
Everybody's doing math in their head.
I'm doing math in my head.
No, you ain't. You're on Google.
I don't do public math.
My brain, my choice.
Hey, Christian.
Hey, how's it going?
So in 1975, what happened?
Christian knows. Go for it.
1975. Well, I wasn't born yet, so
What? I got socks older than this. What? 1975.
I mean 75. I'd say I think the Vietnam War ended. I was born in 77, so
Technically, it ended in 73, but we finally pulled all our assets out in 75.
Kitty comes in with a side post.
G23 says the end of Vietnam. That was. Bama Dad said Richard Nixon announced he was resigning. It's more fun than that, y'all. Come on. It was a movie. Come on.
Jaws.
Thank you.
No.
Jaws. Okay,
Really?
I wasn't
50
thinking
years?
movie
50
stuff.
years ago. Goodness gracious.
Wow.
I seen that on the news. Didn't even think about that.
I didn't either until he said that. I didn't either, and then Jaws.
I was thinking movie.
Because it came
My
out
mama-
on the first day of summer.
That
We were
was
in the fifth. I was in the 5th grade. Mama wouldn't let me see that movie, and we went down to the beach that year. And I looked down the beach, and I looked up the beach, and I said, "Mama, there ain't nobody playing in the water." That's because that movie I told you about. But I mean, there was nobody in the water, nobody. And of course, that's back when Americans were harpooning and killing and poisoning every dadgum thing they could, and the population of sharks were down. If you go down to our coast now, Bodie, stop jumping at the dog on the TV. Good Lord, that
See,
dog.
Let's see if I can do my impression. Hey, Chiefy. They're like doll's eyes.
Yeah.
Count us down, Walter.
Hey,
Not bad.
Count us down, Walter. Count us down,
Ready?
Walter.
Here we go. On 3, 2, 1. West Coast winner.
The sexiest eyebrows on YouTube.
What's up, bud?
And
guys are all over like hot cheese on nachos, man.
Hell yeah.
Go ahead. What's going on, my people? How's everybody doing?
Doing good, brother. How about you?
Good.
See,
You know, I'm a little annoyed, but I'm okay.
We don't
what's
need any more
bothering?
noids. We got enough noids.
Yeah,
Don't be
seriously.
annoyed.
I don't want to ruin the mood here, so I'll keep that to myself. But it's always good to see you guys. God bless you.
You're not annoyed because I brought up Jaws or Vietnam.
No, sir, not at all. Actually, this is work related. Anyways, we're good.
Okay. All right. So, Bama Dad said Richard Nixon announced he was resigning, and then he put in there, according to Google, Walt Fletcher said Rick Nixon resigned in 1974. And see, that's what I would have told you. I would have guessed 1974. Anyway, y'all want to talk about some Marlin rifles?
Won't talk about anything but Nixon.
Yeah, seriously, that's depressing.
Christian, how's your
Oh,
week
I
been
got
before we get into that?
What?
How's your week been, Christian?
Busy. Yeah, I just wrapped up a 3-week class, and then I started another one on Monday, a 1-week class. So yeah, it's been a busy week for sure. Early starts, and getting home late. I work about an hour away from where I work, so it's a little bit of a stretch to get out there. But yeah, I mean, hey, I'm still upright, so.
That's a blessing. Anyway, what I was telling, before we get into that, 1 minute. Mr. Mario Mosen, how was your week, my brother?
It's been incredibly busy for me, guys. I got doing an expansion on my work account, so it's been extremely crazy for me. That's why you guys really haven't seen me on chats in a while. Just got a lot going on in the in the work world, but other than that, it's been good, man. I think tomorrow I'm finally gonna get to the range. I need to because I'm getting to a point now that I need to de-stress and lead therapies always work for me. So that's all I got. Thank you, guys.
Thanks for being here, all you guys. Thank you so much. We got Christian. I don't know that you've been on our show before. I've been on.
I have. It's been a while.
Yeah, we're glad.
Yeah, I'm on Scott channel or live times and whatnot. I think I was on here at least once or twice. I mean, I watch as anytime I can.
Yeah, we're always glad to have you.
So the wife's always got me pulled in other directions. So, but in the evenings, but she's gone, so I got a weekend of myself.
Uh-oh. The cat's away, the mouse will play.
Yeah, well, it ain't much playing. I'm just relaxing.
I'm going to sleep till I wake up tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm the same way. My wife just left for like 2 weeks. I'm like, hallelujah.
No, mine will be back on Sunday. I mean, I love her, but man, it's nice to get that little bit of a break,
Yeah. See, we all say that, and then when they get back,
no, it's good because you do want to. I think that's important. If you get to a point that you guys see each other all the time, it just becomes a drag. But I think it's good.
Absolutely.
But we sure are glad when they get back, ain't we?
Well, mine made sure that all the laundry was done and every dishes were done, all that stuff. But we do chores together, so I mean, I help her with that stuff. But she made an extra effort to make sure there was nothing left for me when she left. So I was appreciative of that. But
man, paper plates is the way to go, brother.
Yeah.
Amen. I agree with Mario. 100%.
We're feeling privileged to not have Mario and Christian, and we got Pat back from the abyss. See, he was in the bunker but slipped off the edge down into the abyss, and we had to throw him a rope and haul him back up. Anyway, we were talking about our meet and greet, and then we're going to get into some Marlin stuff tonight. I was not ignoring your email, Christian. And I was just telling them I was thinking about what do I want to bring. And
Yep, absolutely.
And I was telling them I'm thinking I'm going to bring my Marlin 94, and it's 44 special mag, and I've got this really cool Ruger Blackhawk and 44 special that I want to bring and show off to you guys.
That'd be sweet.
And then maybe my Smith revolvers, and then my 6.5 Creedmoor for distance, maybe even my 270, just to try that out. I'm probably be bringing some test loads for the 270 if I bring it. If I can get those loaded up in time. Probably won't even. Are you bringing? Who's bringing an AR?
Well, I could probably bring one.
I'll have one.
I want to bring.
Or 4.
I know they're. We play with those all the time.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll bring one or not. If I do, it'll probably be my 350 Legend one.
Nice.
And before we go to our subject, to Pat in the bunker, the way to remember the old man is always it's farewell and adieu, my fair Spanish ladies, with a toothpick in your mouth. That's the way you sing that from Jaws.
And here's to swimming with bow-legged women.
That's right.
Exactly. He was a great actor. He nailed that part. He nailed it.
The part of that movie that still sticks with me. There's George Jones. Good to see you, buddy. And we'll go through the side chat at the bottom of the hour. The scene where they're in the bottom of the boat, in the cabin of the boat, and they're showing off their scars.
Yeah, they're all drunk as sin. You're right.
Yeah. And they're talking about, the Richard Dreyfuss's character didn't have no scars. He goes, Mary Ellen Rogers, she broke my heart. And then Quinn pulls up his breeches leg, and there's a big old gash in his calf. And he starts talking about the USS Indianapolis. And I won't go into it in great detail here right now. But
it was horrific.
If any of y'all don't know about the USS Indianapolis, I would encourage you to look it up. I'm sure they made a movie about it, but
They did.
Yeah, so check that out. And good to see Walks out there. Yes, indeed. 270 Winchester is the finest cartridge in the history of the world.
Well, you just bring yours and we'll see about that.
Okay.
I don't know why you got to keep reminding us if it's so popular. Everybody would already know.
Zing, Jamie, zing.
I told y'all before I love my 270, but I'm not sure it's the cartridge. I think it's the rifle. But I'll bring it and y'all can find out.
I have no idea what I'm bringing. I have no clue. I'll probably bring at least one AR, I guess. But I got a couple M1 Grands. I got some old World War II surplus stuff. I got some AKs. I got, I don't know. I don't want to bring everything.
I've never shot an M1 Garand, so.
You want me to bring one? I'll bring one for you.
They are awesome.
Well, Mike, you got
ain't
targets out to what, 600 yards?
Yeah.
Well, that's the second day. We'll do targets out to 600. Now I don't know if you'll be able to see them because they'll be like wah 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 wah, with a mirage and everything. But it's a cool range, it really is. It's
Jamie,
it's
if
a-
you give a shot a Garand, watch your thumb, dude.
Oh, I didn't say I was going to load it. I'm just going to shoot
come
it.
on, Bodie.
No, you got to load it if you're going to shoot it.
Just take
Yeah,
a stick and hit that top.
Get that thumb going over there.
Yeah.
You hold that charging handle back with your hand and you push that thing down with your thumb and you'll be all right. That's how you do. I shoot matches with Grand, so
Yeah, you got it until you don't got it. Happened to me.
I think once you don't got it, you'll have it from now on.
Oh yeah. I didn't make the same mistake twice, but yeah, it happened to me.
That's my theory.
Use the bathroom.
So it's almost the bottom of the hour. I won't start into Marlin until after we call out the side chat. They're getting quite populated. Welcome all you guys. We appreciate y'all.
I'm sorry, guys. I seem distracted. I'm taking care of the dishes right quick.
You're a good man.
If
Hell, I cooked
anybody's
dinner too.
contacted or trying to
they-
talk to me on the side chat, I can't see it tonight. I've only got my cell, so I can't see a side chat at all. If I
There
want
you
to
go,
see you guys.
Bama Dad. That's it right there. Are you okay with that, Walter?
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, that's fine.
So yeah, we'll thank Bama Dad for the call in tonight. He was on there first because he come up with it. And they're off the page. Hold on a minute. So we got, Bama Dad, we got Tactical Fud. Christian Grest is on the panel and the side chat. So is Walter Viejo. So is Pat in the bunker. So is Mike Hester. So is Texas 6. Mr. Bob is out there. He just got in. Dwayne 7834, Tim S, Bobby Barlow, GGW Outdoors, Glenn Davis, Walks Fletcher, Dwayne 783401 guy. Glenn Davis is Jaws, man, but we got you. You're good. Hillbilly Ups out there. Kyle Lusk is on the panel and the side chat. Let's see. Tim S. Edward Petty. I already called out Pat in the bunker. Papa's Place. What's going on, brother? And I think we're up to date, maybe. Hillbilly, we got room for one more, dude. So if that's everybody, I'm showing we got 40 of you guys. There's Cyclops videos. Joe W. Ray. What's up, buddy? Glad to have you with us.
Hey, man.
Okay, so
Did everybody was Joe on there? You know how he does them crazy videos back and forth to everybody? Did anybody catch the short that Chad did the other day about day at the range? Oh my goodness. I had to text Chad instantly and tell him that, it's a good thing my phone's waterproof because it's wearing coffee. Wow. Funny, great short. Check out Chad's short.
Well, we're missing Chad tonight too, man. Anyway, so last week we talked about the Winchester 94, and we skipped a couple. Oh, there's Ron 2A Matters. He typed in Jaws. So welcome, Ron. We kind of skipped a couple of Marlin rifles along the progression. So the last one we talked about was the Marlin 1889. I'm pretty sure. Is that correct?
I think so. Yeah.
Sounds right.
So let me get over here to my notes. This is, I don't want to be a, this is from an article called The Story of Marlin and the Lever Gun by Glenn E. Frizel, Fryxell. And this is from the website leverguns.com. And apparently, according to my reading of this article and the dates given in here, I'm saying that this article was written approximately 2006. And because he references they're over 136 years old. Well, that would put this article being written right before Remington bought and, in my opinion, ruined Marlin Firearms Corporation. Anyway, so we've already talked about how John Marlin was born in Connecticut in 1836. He grew up in New England, how he was in the tool and die trade, and he built guns for Colt during the Civil War. And in 1870, he founded Marlin Firearms Company in New Haven, Connecticut, and started with single-shot Derringers. And the really big, the first big gun that they produced was the 1881 lever action. And then that led to the 1889, which was the last one that we talked about. If you remember, the 81 was for 45-70 and 38-55. It was a large frame, large caliber, big bore rifle. And then they kind of downscaled it in the 1889, and it shot your popular pistol rounds of the day, the 44-40, 38-40, 32-20, and 25-20. And the 1889 would eventually lead to the 1894 design that Marlin continues to manufacture today. Well, at the time that he wrote this article, and cowboy action shooters really liked it. And then we talked about the 90. Well, we've not talked about the 91 yet. This is where we're going. So Marlin had a stroke of genius in 1891 when he applied this solid top side ejection to a smaller frame 22 rimfire lever gun that they named the model 1891. This would be the beginnings of the beloved Marlin 39A, giving rise to what more or less amounts to the longest continuously manufactured rifle in the world, except for production briefly suspended from 1917 to 1922 for World War I. And when it was reintroduced in 1922, this beautiful little rifle was renamed the Model 39. Almost 3 million have been made to date. They referred to it as the Cadillac of 22s. And
it is that.
Author has written several of them. And we have a picture of one right here. If I can.
We like pictures, Jamie.
Y'all like pictures? Ain't that pretty? See, it has the big screw right there. And if we can take a moment right here. Let's stop sharing this and get back over here. Let's blow this up and listen to Pat for a minute. What is that right there on that gun rack? We can't hear you.
Unmute, brother.
Oh, sorry about that. I happen to have a made in 1892 model sitting right there in 22. That is what they would consider, I guess, back in the day. From what I was told, I haven't done a whole lot of history or looking up on this, but this was what they considered kind of a gallery gun, from what my grandpa told me. They used to use these a lot back in the day for when they actually used to use live ammunition when they were in county fairs, state fairs, when you went to the little plinking ranges and everything. That is my mom's. It's all original. I had to rebuild the elevator on it. The elevator was completely shot on it. It would not bring up a shell whatsoever. So I took it apart, rebuilt the elevator on it, did some welding and some grinding, and got it right. So it is a fully functional 92 right there. So yeah, kind of in that same concept area right there. So yeah, it's a really nice survivor. I'll put it that way. It's not restored. It's just I just wanted to get it fixed, get it running again, get it cleaned back up. But yeah, there it is. So and I don't know, other than that, there's not a whole lot about them on the internet from what I can see, or from what Jamie's tried to gather too. So, but yeah, all complete, all there. So yeah, good, nice little rifle. Still shoots good. I can't believe it. It's not all shot out. So
yeah, those 39As are what evolved from that gun. And also notice from the picture that I showed and from Pat's example there, I don't think there's a lot of difference. My mind tells me that it's basically a 91 that was made in 1892, but 1892. Notice the big screw there on the receiver. Also notice on the receiver that there is no Kingsgate. There's no side gate. It's a tube fed and tube loaded machine, right?
Yep. Yes. And it is, I guess it was considered one of the very first takedown guns. You know, you just undo that great big bolt right there on the side and just jimmy it a little bit, and it literally comes apart in two, and you can fold it up, put it in a backpack or whatever, just for storage or whatnot. And it still breaks down pretty nice. Now, this isn't a shining example of one by any means. It's been well loved and everything, but still fully functional. I only put maybe 10 rounds through it a year since I got the elevator fixed. Just wanting to save on it. Mom likes to shoot it every once in a while, so that's always fun. She grew up hunting rabbits with that gun, so when she was a kid.
That's so cool. It's really cool to have somebody's got one and I know we can't handle them and all that.
Yeah.
I appreciate you showing that off. And
I have a question.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, just how's the barrel held up over the years? I know it's a 22, but I'm just curious, is there a lot of pitting inside, or?
No, I got pretty lucky. When my mom left and got married, she never took the gun with her. My grandpa wrapped it. He lubed it up and everything, wrapped it, put it in a box, and there it sat in a closet for years and years. And it was fairly dry. So in a low humidity environment, So I got pretty lucky. The barrel is still in pretty decent shape. There's a little bit of erosion right there at the throat, just a little bit by as much, but it's still fairly accurate. I lucked out. You can definitely tell it's had some rounds through it, but it's not all pitted out on the inside. I got extremely lucky the way my grandpa stored it.
Yeah, your grandpa was wise in storing it the right way, man. That's how a lot of stuff gets still preserved. You know, like as much as we all hate cosmoline on military surplus stuff, you would think about it, man. That's kind of the things that has kept a lot of
That's a
like
lifesaver.
Timojans, like all my Garans and all that stuff that I have is because of that. So.
Yep. So I
the-
got lucky. The wood's not all punky on it too.
Yeah.
From sitting, he just heavily oiled it, wrapped it up, put it in a box, and there it sat for 30 plus years. So yeah, I got extremely lucky. So thanks for showcasing that, Jamie. I appreciate that. So
Thanks
I
for
actually have an
showing,
example.
We got Hillbilly up in the room. How you doing, Hillbilly?
I'm doing good, fellers. How y'all doing?
Good. You have a good week?
Yeah, I had a good week. Real good week. Sorry I was late. We got in here late or got home late and was eating dinner. And so anyway, yeah, we've had a good week. Had some decent weather this week, but then it decided to turn hot on us the last few days. So
Yeah. Yeah, it's like when you hit the official start of summertime around here, man, it's instantly hot. So let me get back to my notes over here, and we'll move on to the next one I wanted to cover tonight. In 1893, 2 years after that gun come out, 1 year after the one Pat has shown us, Marlin applied the solid top side ejection concept to full-length rifle cartridges with the model 1893. Over the years, this rifle would be chambered in 25-36, 30-30, 32 special, 32-40, and 38-55. This rifle was later renamed the model 1936. And guess when? Anyway, later this designation was shortened simply to the model 36. The 1893 1936/36 had the same side ejection that its predecessors had, with the flat-sided bolt and open square cut bolt raceway milled through the rear of the receiver for the bolt to move through. The Model 36 was manufactured up until 1948, and he's got a picture of a couple of those. And let's see if I can get those up here, because Kyle likes pictures, y'all.
I like pictures. Yay.
All right, these are Model 36s. These are not 1893s. But you can see they have the square bolt. They got the loading gate. If I'm not mistaken, well, I'm not going to say that. Let me get back over here. Yeah, both of these are 30-30s. Let me see what else I can find out. That's all it says. And he writes extensively about the 30-30s and some of his pet loads. And we've got a good reloading crowd, so I'm going to go into this a little bit. Um, both of those date from the late 40s, and they've had many rounds down them during the years that he's owned them, and not one of them has worn a jacket. His favorite, what he calls a knockabout load for these guns, is a Lyman number 311 041 170 grain gas check flat point over 25 grains of H335. And that's a Jim Taylor's pet load, except for he used the RCBS 180 grain. And that produces about 1,950 feet per second with very good accuracy. So then Lyman introduced the hollow point version of that mold, the 311 041, and it kind of tore up deer pretty bad. So he, for less expansion and minimal bloodshot meat, if you use that cast hollow point bullet at around 1,600 feet per second, and he likes 18 grains of 4198, is a good recipe for this velocity in 30-30. And a little known fact, this goes into a little bit of Marlin history, and I wish Mark with a C was here. Marlin made the first 8,000 or so Savage 1895s, and that was the predecessor to the Savage 99. Mr. Savage had the rifle design, but it didn't have manufacturing capabilities, so he contracted Marlin to build the rifles. And these rifles can be identified with the JM stamp on. So let's stop sharing this, and let's X that out, and let's X. Do we want to X that one out too? I think. All right. I found a video. See if we can do this. It's very short. I bet y'all recognize these folks, especially Christian.
Yep. Definitely.
Hi, it's Steve from Brownells with another gun from the vault. And today we have the 1893 Marlin repeater. This is a carbine version, and this is quite a little rifle for its day. It's chambered in 30-30, and this design preceded the mighty Winchester 94 by a whole year. So let's take a look at it. Got the Marlin side eject, which Marlins are famous for. That debuted on the 1889 model. And what this is a lengthened and strengthened 1889. You know, the 89 shot things like 4440, 3840, 3220, you know, the pistol cartridges. Whereas this is made for larger 3855, debuted in 3240, later on 3030 and 32 special. This is the right size deer gun here. For most use, this has got all the power you need, just like the 94 Winchester did. And when you hold these two side by side, they're very close in size, weight, everything. They were direct competitors, no question about it. Now, Marlin already had a big frame gun, the 1881, that took large cartridges like 4570, but everybody was talking about high-speed, small caliber guns. So the 3240, 3855 was considered kind of a small caliber back then, actually. And of course, the 3030 was just on the horizon, so this gun came out just at the right time. Nice workmanship, typical of any old Marlin, smooth action, nice strong design, and Marlin touted the closed top as a safety feature. We didn't get stuff blown back in your face, no brass coming up over your head like the Winchesters. I don't know. I love my Marlins and I love my Winchesters, so I'm not going to say anything either way there. Now, this particular Marlin is in my own collection, out of my vault. I bought it from a friend of mine down in Missouri, and he'd had it for a long time, but didn't need it for deer hunting anymore. So I thought, well, maybe I'd take care of it for a while. Anyway, If you have anything you want to say about this gun, if you have one, had some adventures with it, let us know in the comments below. In the meantime, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time with another gun from the vault.
Hillbilly, there's one you let get away, dude.
No doubt, man.
From Missouri.
Yep, those are very popular guns here, and I'm sure everywhere else. But yeah,
Jamie, you want
everybody
to
has
show
them
that?
lever action Marlins.
Jamie, you want to show my video?
Have you got it?
Well, I figured you just find it. But
I messed up and X'd out my notes. So yeah, we need to see it.
So I got a question, guys. So,
Okay.
like the more modern Marlins, Rossies, and now even Smith and Wessons coming out with their own versions and stuff like that. Like how close to the original are these? Are they just completely different from the older versions of those types of rifles?
Near as I can see, the new Ruger Marlin is holds very true to the old design. Better machining, but tighter. But the old design. I've only seen a couple of the Smith and Wessons. They seem to be fine guns, not quite as smooth as the Marlins. But didn't examine them that close. But they're. I think the Marlins are outselling them, but I think Smith and Wesson's holding their own with the market. So,
Yeah, the only difference I'd say with the Marlins, they all have that cross bolt safety on them, the newer ones. So that's a change they made. I don't remember exactly when that happened, but and the
early 80s.
Yeah, so the Smith and Wessons, I would say they're definitely not selling like the Marlins, because the Marlins, I watch stock and stuff at Brownells and whatnot, and the Marlins come in and they're gone right away, whereas the Smith and Wessons, they got them in stock all the time. Like all the models that Smith and Wesson puts out, they're all in stock.
I think it's just you know the notoriety and the reputation that Marlin has that kind of kept it that way, you know, and
Mm-hmm.
you know I think that's still true to form back then as it is now. You know, it's just kind of crazy.
Well, see that, Mario, it's kind of the point of this series we've been doing is showing you the progression of the evolution and what all happened. Now, this 93 that got turned into the, I got to find my dang notes, that got turned into the 36, 1936 and the 36. Uh, it eventually evolved into the 330, the 336. And it became more of a solid frame. Let's see. In 1949, the Model 36 was slightly redesigned and reintroduced as the now familiar Model 336. And the only differences was that they made the bolt out of round stock and an improved extractor stamped out of spring steel. The receiver was milled with a window on the side for ejection and a round window in the rear for bolt travel. So yeah, they're all very similar. And then that was 1949. Then a year later, they added the 35 Remington. Then he goes into his loads for the 35 Remington, which is basically what me and CW been telling you. And then they went to experiment in the mid 50s with microgroove barreling, and everybody says that microgroove don't shoot cast bullets well. Well, this author argues vehemently that it will. And then in the 60s, they started making store brands for a variety of outlets: Sears, J.C. Wiggins, Ward's, Glenfield. And they were basically the same gun, only with cheaper wood. Pretty much the only difference. Then in 64, they made the 444 Marlin, which is built on the 336 action. They come out with the 94 model 1894 in 1969, chambered for the modern high pressure rounds like 44 Magnum. But don't get this confused with the old model 94, because they're two different guns. And let's see. In 1983 is what this author says is when they put that crossbolt safety on there, Christian. So we'll have to do some research on the Marlin Model 94, and I need to do a video on mine, which I'm hoping you guys will help me do when we get up there for our meet and greet. And I'm totally out of the loop on the side chat. Good to see Scotsman out there. Good to see Fuku YT. Anybody else that I missed? Anyway, I hope that didn't bore y'all to death.
And the one in my video was in 4570.
That's a 95, 1895.
No, it was a 93.
Oh, an early one. Okay.
Yeah. It was made in 1909.
That is so cool. I can't find your video, man.
From what I can tell y'all about microgroove barreling, all it takes is playing around with it, because me and Jamie went through the exact same processes and trying multiple powders, multiple charges, all with the same bullet, the same gun. And I can remember going to the range with him, and we've been shooting for a minute with different loads and all that. And he pulls out this one load. I'm not going to give out the recipe, but he fires 3 shots with it. I said, put it back in the case. Let's go home. We're done. If you play with it long enough, you can find it. With jacketed bullets, it's not a problem at all. With cast bullets, you got to play with it a little bit.
I found 2 really good loads, 2 different powders that work really good with the 200 grain cast lead bullet. Now it shoots best, like our author said, with gas checked bullets. Gas checked, powder coated is what worked. And the 2 powders that I found that it liked was H335 and Western Ramshot Tac. And you might think Western Ramshot Tac would be, that's odd, but it's really not, because if you look at a 35 Remington and then look at a 308 Winchester, I think you'll see. 6, email me a link to that video.
Can I put it in the side chat?
Hey, 6, I'm on your site. Remember the title of it?
Willahoe.
What is it?
I just put a link in the side chat, but it's Willow longer range.
Oh, and there was a good question out there since this is a reloading channel. Glenn Davis out there says, will a harder lead bullet help with micro groove barrels?
Yes. Absolutely 100%.
Since I didn't, I reload, but I don't do any of my own casting or anything, so I thought that'd be right up your guys' alley right there. So.
Oh,
We'll get CW to work on that. Hillbilly, are you going to be able to share that video with us?
Which video?
I'm still trying to find it, and there wasn't. I didn't see anything in the private chat. So
There's a.
No, it's on the regular chat. I can put it in the private chat too.
Oh,
I'll get
okay.
it.
Let me grab it off the regular chat then.
That's a 26-minute video.
You just go all the way to near the end of it.
Yeah, let me pull this out here where we can get sound and everything.
All right, I think I've got it. I'm going to go back to this last dude shooting.
Okay, you got it?
I got it.
Okay.
Now that's 6 shooting his.
Yeah, it's right at the last, probably 2 minutes of it.
All right, here we go. All right, 6-pack, we're going to get to this if you'll give me a second.
An accurate rifle, that would be interesting.
Shooter, stand by.
That's me shooting there.
Yeah. I heard it. I heard it again.
Targets are about 75 yards. That target's at about 45 yards.
Came out in the late 1860s. Oh, okay. All right, no, 61. I know, it kills me. Bye. Two. 3. See if I can remember this time. I was waiting for the gun to cycle.
.48 and 2.
Clear.
Okay.
Clear. What you shooting?
Over here.
What's that? What is that?
It's a 93.
A 93?
Marlin 93, made in 1909.
1909. All right.
That's sexy as red knee socks right there, boys.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I like that.
He was shooting a sharpshooter with it out to 45 yards.
So that was 45-70.
Yep.
He must have had them loaded down, or he can take that recoil real well.
Oh, yeah. No, actually, that was the first time he shot rifle in nearly a year after his shoulder surgery.
That's a tongue twister, ain't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that stock, it definitely looked like it had been used. I liked it. That was slick.
That was great, man. That was so
First stage, he had a couple problems with it, and I think a screw was loose or something. The rest of the stages, he ran pretty good.
So I got a question.
Go ahead, go for it.
So what was the purpose of creating the 30-30 round? Was that mostly so they can start doing more like deer hunters and stuff like that? Is that what it's catered for? What was the whole purpose of that round?
Well, I'll give you my thoughts.
Because it's awesome.
Yeah.
I do the 30-30, man. It's way more gooder. I like it.
Up until then, I mean, they had big, powerful cartridges, but the speed was low. With black powder, you're not getting much above 1,600 feet per second. 30-30 was the first American cartridge before y'all start picking on me, designed for smokeless powder. And they found out that what they called a small caliber faster bullet was something that people really liked. So they started making more and more of those, like the 30-30, the 32 special, in that range. Now, on the other side of the world, while we're over here in our cocoon playing with our lever actions, they're working on bolt guns across the ocean. So maybe we ought to talk about that. But seeing Arsenal's got that down to an art form.
And 30-30 was designed for a medium range round to deliver a lot of knockdown power, whether it be for hunting or I don't think I can say that on here, but knockdown power at medium range. We're talking maybe 250 yards. And it was not that adversely affected by brush and, other things. It would still maintain the trajectory and still be relatively reliable at 250 yards shooting through the woods.
Yeah, Walk says 32 special started out as black powder. There's lead mining 44. What's going on, stranger? Good to see you up in here. And CW, anything you want to add to that? 6, anybody?
No, I'm good.
I wish I could see the side chat to know what's going on over there to comment, but sorry guys, I cannot.
we was talking about why did they? Mario asked why did they develop the 30-30?
Well, it was an improvement with smokeless powder. Really saw the advancement of that smaller diameter bullet, because back in the day with black powder, the only way to make more powerful cartridge was to get bigger bore, to get more volume, because the black powder was an explosive. It there's a cannon basically, so it works on a different principle than smokeless powder, where the rapidly expanding gases propel your bullet. So it was just a totally different mindset and way of doing things for them that what anybody knew. So it started off.
That's exactly what we're trying to say. Bob said it more better than we did. And another thing, less recoil too, Mario. Think about a 4570 with black powder. Like CW said, basically a smaller cannon.
It's a cannon. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, black powder.
And if you don't
black
believe
powder
me,
is
go look at one of my videos where I fire a 4570 for the first time. It just about landed me on my ass because I was not expecting that.
So,
Wow.
Well, if you look at the velocities of black powder cartridges, you're hovering in the 12 to 1400 foot per second range. They really didn't go much faster than that. So the only way to get more power was to get a bigger bore, because that was the ceiling. That was it. That was that was the NV 555 Creedmoor of the day. That was it. So if you wanted more power, you had to go bigger bullets, because you could push a bigger bullet the same velocity. You just couldn't push it any faster. And then with smokeless powder, that all changed.
Yeah, smokeless powder was definitely one of the, in my opinion, one of the biggest game changers.
Well, it did a whole bunch of things. There was less smoke, and it worked with pressures. It didn't explode to cause the bullet to go out the barrel like a cannon. It worked with pressures of rapidly expanding gases produced by igniting that powder. It was a totally different principle.
Yep.
And you got to realize the amount of difference in kick between black powder and smokeless.
Yeah.
It's huge.
It's huge.
So what people, when they pick up a 4570 nowadays, especially a factory loaded one, and shoot it, it's going to knock their into the dirt, versus the black powder. Because I've watched people shooting black powder with full cartridge loads. They don't even flinch.
Yep.
Glenn Davis, that ain't even a fair question to be asking us. What's the velocity of a 45 110 with a 405 grain bullet? Yeah.
You're loading it with smokeless, or you're loading it with black powder.
Right. If you're loading it with black powder, it's the same as everything else.
Yeah, it's 1,500 feet per second at top.
15
Probably
and
closer
16.
to 12.
16 is the ceiling right there.
That's it. But you want to see more about that? Go watch our buddy Jeremy's Lever Guns 50 channel. You'll hear all about that kind of stuff.
Uh-huh.
He just did a short that showed tremendous pressure power of that cartridge. He pushed one bullet to 2,900, and it barely made it through one block, and it flipped it up probably 10, 15 feet away from where it was impacted, and he dropped it down around 2,200 or so feet per second, and it still knocked both blocks for a loop, but it penetrated way more farther.
I shot Big E's Encore 4570, and he's loading them things up with, I don't know, it was around 400 grain bullets, pushing 200 feet per second, or 2,000 feet per second.
Yeah, that's a load.
The scope will hit you real quick if you ain't ready for it.
That
Yeah,
hurts.
my top
Something
load was about 1950 with a 400 grain spear in 1895 Marlin, and let me tell you, that hit you hard. That was a lot of recoil.
That's a lot of recoil.
That was a lot of recoil.
That's probably the more recoil that I've ever shot, even shooting a 300 Win Mag.
Well, I think it's more than a 300 Win Mag.
Oh yeah, it's definitely.
It's more than a 300 Win
Uh-huh.
Mag.
That's been verified and checked out by my shoulder.
John's got another question. The advantage of the 110 is powder capacity.
Again, think black powder. You know, it got you a bigger, longer bullet, and got you the same amount of volume of black powder in there because you had a ceiling of a certain velocity, like Jamie said, about 1600. But it's in the range it's in that range. So that was the only way to do it back then, was to go bigger, 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 bigger.
Yep.
Hey, Gizzard Gary. Hope you had a good week, brother. All right, so Gene is not with us tonight, and I was hoping that Walter would share something with us that came with his. I think it was a 3855.
Oh, you want to see that reloading tool that I showed you guys earlier?
Are you ready?
Yeah, sure.
Hold on 1 second. Gene's not here.
Gene's not here. Okay, so this is a reloading tool. It's the Ideal number 6, made in the early 1900s, before 1910. The patent dates on this thing there's 2 patent dates stamped on there, and they're both 1884, but that was for the tool, not particularly for the caliber. Let me turn this over so you can you read the caliber right there? 3855 M. Anybody want to guess what the M stands for?
Tell us, please.
And Marlin. This one was made in New Haven, Connecticut. So that was, before Lyman took the tool company over. And what this thing did was almost everything. It has an integrated bullet mold. Okay. It makes this bullet right here. And that's a bullet that I cast at it. It makes a beautiful bullet, about 250 grains. And I think that this, the Lyman mold number, they bought the company in 1925 and started their own numbering system. But I think it's the 375248 bullet, which was actually came in 2 different sizes. It came in this one here, which was 250 or 255, and then a smaller one. But anyway, so this tool did everything. Okay, you cast your bullet. Okay, it has a bullet sizing hole right there, and you would stick your bullet in there. Okay, and this pin would come down, shove the bullet through. You'd have to lube your bullet first, and that would size your bullet. That one hadn't been sized, so I don't want to run it through there. The other part of this tool was for doing the reloading. This is they made this in 2 versions, an adjustable version and a non-adjustable version. This is the adjustable version. And so kind of, you get your case. I guess I could show you kind of in order. You had to decap your case. So it came with this decapping pin.
Really quick, Walter. This looks like a firearm, but this is not a firearm. This is a reloading tool. This is not a firearm.
A tool. Yep, it's not a firearm, just a tool. And your case would go down in there. You would close the handles, and it would pop your primer out. It's got an extractor on it, but it only lifts it up a little way. There we go. So let me get that out of there. So you can see that extractor pin right there. And so that would pop your primer. Your case would then go into this hole. You'd manually stick a primer in there. Then this other little pin right here, this guy, would come down in there and seat that primer. You push it down till the handle's closed. So you got your priming done, and then oops, knew I was going to do that. That's right. Then this part right over here, this end, that was your belling tool. You'd lay this down on the table and take the butt end of your gun or something, or a hammer if you had it, and kind of tap that a little bit, and that would flare the case. When you ran your case into the die part here to decap it, this would also remove any remaining crimp that was in there. And this part here, the adjustable part, behaved kind of like a modern day seating die. And so you could adjust this to seat the bullet, okay, tighten it down, and then come back and readjust it and do a crimp, or you could set it to so that it would seat and crimp at the same time. So kind of a unique tool. They're hen's teeth now, and this one came to me down through some family lines. It was in pretty sad shape, all rusty and stuff, but I got it all reconditioned and refurbished. And I've only used it just a very little bit. I made about 100 bullets out of it one time, and went ahead and ran a bunch of cases through and did the whole thing with it, and made some 38-55 rounds and went out and shot them out of my Henry 38-55. But pretty cool old tool. It was actually made for those old Marlins.
Did you research that at all, Walter, with the M on there? Because there was big feuds between Winchester and Marlin, to all the way up to the point where Marlin would not even call it a 38-55. They renamed it 38-56, and there was a 38-56.
I think that when they first made that,
Maynard or something.
Oh, it could have possibly be when I was researching this thing, it was hard to come up with information, and that's what I had found when I first picked this up from my brother-in-law, that M was Marlin. But
the feud was pretty hard. They wouldn't label anything Winchester would anything. They didn't. They renamed cartridges. They would not.
Oh yeah.
It was hardcore.
Let me give y'all a little bit more history, Walter. Since you brought up the Lyman thing, let me read this paragraph. It's a little bit lengthy, but it's worth it. So, after the turn of the century, the Marlin Company went through a tumultuous series of ownership changes. In 1901, John Marlin died, and his two sons inherited the business as part of his estate. In 1910, John Barlow retired from his post, leading the Ideal Reloading Tool Company, and Marlin bought Ideal, makers of the respected Ideal bullet molds. Marlin also took over publication of the Ideal handbooks, which they had been contributing to previously. And in 1915, the winds of war were swirling, and it became apparent that the United States might get involved in the war festering in Europe. A group of investors, William Bondbright and Company and Cassell Kennicott and Company, both associated with J.P. Morgan, bought the Marlin Company at about the same time. Marlin sold off the Ideal Reloading Tool Company to Phineas Talcott, who later sold it to Marlin. A.F. Rockwell became president of the new Marlin Arms Corporation, and in 1916 renamed it the Marlin Rockwell Corporation, which went on to become one of the largest machine gun manufacturers in the world. And in 1919, they were led by John F. Morgan. And as World War I ended, business faltered. And anyway, but the main thing I wanted to get out of that paragraph was at one point, Marlin did own Walter gone. There he is. At one point, Marlin owned Ideal.
Right.
Sold it to the Phineas Talcott guy, and then he sold it to Lyman.
I think that since that tool, I mean, it wasn't a Marlin tool at first. When that tool was made, it was still ideal. And so maybe it may be, after Marlin picked it, because Marlin only ran the company for just a few years,
Yeah.
from about 1910 to 1925 or so. And so that may still be a representation of Marlin, since it was not their company at the time. That we don't
That
have too
tool,
many.
that tool is just neater than sliced bread. I think that is so cool.
They're
Yeah.
pretty neat. You can
Oh.
still find them. They still come up on eBay and stuff. They're usually in sad shape, and
I wonder why they don't make them.
usually you're missing that piece.
Today.
What comes to my mind is Jack Nicholson saying, "Where does he get such wonderful toys?"
I think
Right?
I think Marlin owned Ideal from 1910 to 1915.
Oh yeah, I believe you're right. And then Barlow bought it and ran
Barlow
it.
owned it before that.
Did he buy? Okay.
He owned it before Marlin got it, and they bought it when he retired. And then Talcott got it.
Yeah, okay, there you go. I forgot about Talcott. That's right.
And then Lyman bought it.
Right.
But that little tool is just neat as crap.
Oh, they're slick. When you think about it, if you were, back in that time period, 1890, or 1910, 1915, in that period, you were still a horseback, most of the folks, and you had to pack all your gear with you. And if you were going to make ammo out in the field, you had to have a tool to do it, and that one would do it all.
You got a reloading press right there in your pocket.
Yep.
Yeah, that is. I think a lot of guns should come with them. All right, before we go on to the verse of the week, welcome, Mark. Anybody else got any questions or comments about Marlin? Have I talked way too much tonight? I feel like I have.
No.
No, you're all right, Jamie.
Jamie, I could listen to it all night long, brother.
Bama Dad said there's a bunch of those things on eBay right now.
Yeah, there usually is quite a few, but like Walter said, they can be pretty ratty.
There's a number 4 that was pretty popular, also very similar to that one, and they came in adjustable, and like this one was, and non-adjustable. They had kind of a fixed chamber on it. Still pretty neat.
I've seen them at antique shows and stuff, and they usually want too much money for them anyway.
Yeah, and they're usually in. You can't use the mold. The mold is like rusted down, believe me.
Trashed.
I've seen a couple of those at antique places, and I was just like, well, yeah, if it worked, I would probably buy it for that. But the shape that it's in, hell no.
Yeah. and the decap pin is almost always missing. People, because it falls out, it fell out on me while I was showing you guys, and so that kind of detracts from the value of it as well. Although you can make one if you're, even with hand tools, you can make a little decap pin that'll fit down in there and get the job done. But
Incomplete, right? All right, I'm going to do the verse of the week now, and I'm going to try to keep it to a minimum because, like I said, I've done talked too much tonight. And y'all remember last week we talked about Joshua. Be strong and of good courage. Do not be afraid or be dismayed, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. Y'all remember that?
Yep, sure do.
All right, so this week we're going to the end of that book, Joshua chapter 24. And this is from Joshua's farewell address. This is right before he dies. And he says, now therefore fear the Lord, serve him in sincerity and in truth, and put away the gods which your father served on the other side of the river and in Egypt. Serve the Lord with an exclamation point. Verse 15 is our verse of the week. And if it seems evil to you to serve the Lord, choose for yourself this day whom you will serve, whether the gods which your fathers served that were on the other side of the river, or the gods of the Amorites, in whose land you dwell. But as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. First, in verse 14 here, Joshua is telling them, fear the Lord, serve him in sincerity and in truth, and put away those other gods. The ones from the other side of the river would be the Jordan, and the ones that they had in the idols that they had in Egypt. Serve the Lord. Get all that other crap out of your mind. And then in verse 15 it says, and if it seems evil to you to serve the Lord, choose for yourself this day whom you will serve. And this is what he gives them a little bit of a hook. Whether the gods which your fathers served that were on the other side of the river, the other side of the Jordan, while their fathers are dead. What good did it do for them to serve those gods? And then this one are the gods of the Amorites in whose land you dwell. God had just led you to defeat the Amorites. You ran, 1,000 of them were running from 10 Jewish guys. So what good is it going to do you to serve those guys? All right. So let me get my John MacArthur study Bible. He says, John MacArthur says, Joshua's fatherly model, reminiscent of Abraham's in Genesis 18:19, was for himself and his family to serve the Lord, not false gods. He called others in Israel to this, and they committed themselves to serve the Lord also. And you can see that in verses 21 and in verse 24. They agree that they will serve the Lord God too. But Joshua made this decision. He was faithful. He offered an alternative to those who did not want to serve the Lord, as he encouraged in Joshua 24:14. Yet his course was clear and sensible. Joshua makes a statement because he had lived a life in which he continually chose to serve the Lord. See, the Hebrew there is different. It's a past tense or a present tense verb in English, but in the Hebrew it's more of a perfect tense is what we would say. It's past, present, and future. Serve. He has, he will, and he is. So Joshua could make this statement because he'd lived that continuous life. He chose to fight against the Amalekites, choosing when it might have cost him everything. He chose to reject the golden calf back in when they first left Egypt, and choosing when the flesh might have been satisfied. He chose to serve the Lord by serving Moses, choosing a humble place. He chose to believe God's promise about the promised land, choosing against the majority. If you remember back, only him and one other guy, Caleb, believed God and wanted to go take the land right then. But instead, they doubted, and they wandered in the wilderness for 40 years because of that. Joshua chose to recognize the leadership of the captain of the Lord's army, choosing to surrender to God. Joshua chose to take leadership of Israel and lead them into the land, choosing faith instead of unbelief. God gives humanity choices. God is a choosing God and we are made in his image, he wants us to also choose. Basically, you're going to have to serve somebody, like that Bob Dylan song, right?
I was just thinking the same thing, sir.
You know, you may serve the devil and you may serve the Lord. You may serve money. You may serve work. You may serve a woman. Something is going to be your God, and it needs to be the Lord God Almighty. And that's the point of the verse of the week.
Well,
Questions or comments?
Yeah, I'll just make a quick one. In that particular passage, you know, from the beginning of the chapter there, it says, you know, he called all of the peoples of Israel together, and then he kind of asked for their reps to come before him, and he's telling them, he says, "Hey, time for you to put up or shut up, you know, time for you to go big or go home. And if you're gonna run with me and mine, you know, in my house, we serve the Lord." And pretty much the people are saying, "Yeah, you know, we're going to run with you. You know, that's going to be our choice." But he definitely lays it out to him, doesn't he? You know, he says, "Hey, make a choice. Stand up straight and make a choice here, and do the right thing."
Yeah, there was definitely the time for fiddle farting around was over.
Exactly.
It was time to do it. Well, sorry, semi bad word shit or get off the pot.
Yeah, I was trying to come up with that, but I didn't want to say it. I'm glad you did, because that's
will.
kind of what it is kind of what he's talking about, though. You know,
You're going to hell. You're going to hell. Stop.
Yeah, I know. Well, I do confess my sins, so he knows I'm imperfect. So, but I'm doing my best.
But and if you remember God's covenant with Israel, it was if you do this, this, and this, then I will do that, that, and
right.
that. And he just delivered them and gave them the land that he promised them.
Mm-hmm.
And in that chapter right there, Joshua tells them that if they don't, then he'll let them run them out, and eventually that's what happened. And let's see, what was it?
Yep.
605 BC, I think. The Mesopotamians, not the Mesopotamians, the Babylonians captured, laid siege to Israel, to Jerusalem in particular. Then in by 487, I think they did it in three different groups of exiles left Jerusalem and went into Babylonian captivity. And the northern kingdom had already been captured by 150 years earlier. But anyway, I want to thank y'all for indulging me. Go ahead, Hillbilly. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, I don't remember exactly this, but either Joshua was, either when they were wandering in the wilderness, either he was born or very young, because I thought he was just in his early 40s when they found the promised land after 40 years of, you know, wandering in the wilderness. And so that I was thinking like that was most of his life that he had seen, was wandering around in the wilderness, you know, eating manna. And so it was a big step for him.
Yeah, I think he was very young when they left Egypt. I think he was like in his early 20s, maybe late teens. He became Moses' assistant. And then when Moses died, he took over. What was Joshua's big failure? What do y'all think Joshua's biggest failure was?
trying to make cornbread out of manna?
Oh Lord.
No, Jiffy Mix. No, I think Joshua's biggest failure was his failure to replicate leadership.
For a minute, I was gonna say trying to make instant grits without a microwave.
That too. Now, making instant grits, period, is an unforgivable abomination.
You tell him, Bulldog.
I'm telling you. Tim S. Lifting the toilet seat? No, it's leaving it up. Anyway, thank y'all for joining us this evening. But I always enjoy the verse of the week. But if you remember, Moses replicated his leadership in Joshua, but Joshua wasn't able to replicate leadership into another man. Him and Caleb were the same age, and remember, Caleb was 80 years old when they went in to take the promised land. He was 40 when he said, "Let's go get it now." And him and Joshua were the only two that said that.
Yeah, I thought Joshua and Caleb was roughly the same age, but maybe not.
I think,
because I was thinking, like, from a verse like studying church, they were kind of like the younger of the generation, and they're like, basically like, hey, all you elders, we've been wandering the land. Let's go get it. Let's take it now in our lifetime, And so for some reason, that's why I was thinking they were fairly close to the same age, but I might be totally off.
I think Joshua was a little bit younger, but 20 years tops. And it says at the end of this verse, Mike, that Joshua died at 110 years old, and I think Caleb lived to be 120.
Yeah.
So even after they had lived through the 40 years of wandering in the desert and then taken the land, they still lived a long time to enjoy the land, the promised land. So anyway, any gun stuff y'all want to talk about before we start going through the room?
Not from here. The book of Joshua is got some cool stuff in it. The fall of Jericho, that whole story is in this book. And I think it starts earlier, maybe chapter 6 or 7 or somewhere back there earlier in the book of Joshua. But it's an interesting story about why Joshua was there at Jericho in the first place. It's worth reading if you've forgotten your Sunday school lessons from 50 years ago, like me.
Also, the only time recorded in history, period, where the sun actually stood still. So you can go read that in Joshua as well.
Yeah. And what a like that verse, as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. I mean, that is written on the subfloor of our house and behind the sheetrock, and other Bible verses. And, what an awesome verse, statement.
It is.
It says a lot.
Well, to Glenn Davis says thank you. Abigail got a new pistol finally. Pat in the bunker says thank you. And Tim S says thank you. You're more than welcome. Thanks for indulging me. And GGW says we didn't touch the 1895 Trapper. Actually, the 1895 Trapper came out much later in the 1900s, and it's basically a evolved 336 chambered in 4570. There's Ozark Spirit. All right, so let's start going through the room. We got to clear the deck for Chad and Hillbilly and all the rest of them. Hillbilly, we'll let you go first.
Oh man, what a fun night! I love lever actions and all that, and man, thanks for doing all these segments on old lever actions. I've really been enjoying it. Always a blast on here and great side chat. And so appreciate you having me. We got Guns, Beer, and Therapy coming up tomorrow night, 9 o'clock Central. If you ain't done nothing, come on and visit us, will you? And of course, we got Let's Talk Bench Rest with Kentucky Rimfire up next, too. So,
Did you put a link out there for that?
yeah, I will right now here.
And the Glenn Davis, the 444 was also a 336 derivative. Let me put this back up here. And Mark Thomas, we missed you, buddy. Have a good week, dude.
I had a good week, but a busy week. I've been doing some vehicle maintenance and prep for our trip next weekend up to Moondog's airsoft event, and that's been keeping me busy. I did get a new bullet mold this week. It was something that caught my eye on eBay. A little 38 wad cutter. Walters inspired me. So I got that one cleaned up and I got it prepped, but I haven't been able to melt any lead yet. But we'll get
$495.
Sorry, that
$495.
No, it's a Lee mold. It's
okay.
It was the price was just too good. I couldn't pass it up.
Double-ended wad cutter.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah, I'm gonna shoot it. But other than that, sorry I was late. My son's Taekwondo class was doing a belt test, and he's kind of gotten himself up there into the senior ranks, so he was there helping out and working with the kids. So I gotta always get behind that whenever that's a possibility. So that got me late, and well, glad I could be here. Thanks for having me. Good to see everybody over there in the side chat, and I hope I didn't miss anybody that said hi. So that's pretty much all I got.
Glad you made
Get
it,
over it.
everybody. You're going to love what a wad cutter does to a piece of paper.
Yep.
Nice clean holes.
Yep.
Yes. Christian Grest, what an honor, buddy. Thank you for being here.
Hey, thanks for having me, Jamie. Yes, thanks for the kind of spur of the moment hopping on here, but I appreciate the so I've been watching, I watch, every Friday night when I can, and I have appreciated the lever action history and stuff. So I'm not a huge lever action guy, but my daddy was, and I got a couple of his old lever action rifles, and I did kind of a modernized, newer Henry, a few years ago. So I definitely like them, and always learning. I mean, those things have been so many variants and stuff, so it's definitely cool to hear all that history and whatnot. So looking forward to seeing some folks here in a few weeks, not too awful far from me. So that's pretty excited about it. Just trying to figure out what to bring.
Bring it all.
That's me, buddy. Thanks for being here, brother.
I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Mr. Mario, thank you for being here, brother. Hey, what you got coming up?
Man, nothing, man. They got me working like the Brown Kid over here. So no, I'm good, man. I'm gonna be just working away, man. Right now the reloading room is closed until probably September or October because it's extremely too hot in my garage, and the heat's starting to come over here. So yeah, I did load quite a bit of mail though. So I should be good for the summer and finish for the winter. But no, man, just it's been a while since I've been on. Scotsman actually hit me up today. He's like, "Hey, man, you okay?" So I just thought I'd put my ugly mug out here and make sure you guys, I'm still alive and stuff, man. But it's always you guys, man. God bless you all. Really appreciate all your knowledge and friendship. It's all appreciated. So that's all I got.
Thanks for being here, brother. We appreciate you. Mr. Lusk, what you got working on?
Well, you know what I'm working on. And now it's not the dishes. But yeah, I want to get out and shoot this 1891 Argentine and see what I can make it do. Like I say, I'd love for you to be there with me and video it in case something goes crazy. That way, it'll all be in posterity. But other than that, no, man, just working, enjoying my days off in the pool and in the lake and all that stuff. So just finally getting around to enjoying life. So that's a plus. And it's great to be here with everybody and cut up with everybody in the side chat. And I'm in the same boat as CW was. I got to use my phone for the side chat and my laptop for being here. But it's busy, but it's fun, and I enjoy it. I'm proud to be here every week. So that's what I got. Pat, you still there? Yeah, there you are. Oh, you're like a little marmoset or a gopher. Like a meerkat. Meerkat.
Meerkat. There he is. Yeah.
What's going on?
He's a whack-a-mole.
A prairie dog.
Yeah. No, I shoot prairie dogs, so please don't call me a prairie dog.
That's why I
am the eliminator. No, as far as what I got going on, yeah, just ball games, kids. Still trying to practice with my T-sauce. The holster problem that I had earlier in the week. I'll keep you all updated on that through my shorts on that, my short videos.
Thank you for
I've got
that.
Yes, exactly. Because not through my shorts or in my shorts, my short videos. But no, have got a new person out to shoot here a couple weeks ago. Awesome. And finally got the video edited down just a tick. And her first time shooting firearms, and now she's been practicing and everything. Set her up at a couple other different ranges down there in Texas. Once I got her taught up a little bit, just the bare fundamentals, obviously, because she was only here for a couple of days. But yeah, so that's a new video. A couple of new videos will be coming out on that. So it was fun to have somebody new that was excited about shooting and wanted to learn. So awesome. it was very, very, very fun. So but other than that, yeah, more stuff to come. So
Killer.
Six, what you got coming up?
Oh, we're gonna go to the cowboy practice in the morning. She wants to try to shoot, see how the shots did in her hand, see if she can hold a gun for very long. So she wants to do that. I got a video coming up. I'm going to do part of the range tomorrow at that range video. It's been 1 year since I did the tight group and powder coat experiment. So we're going to test the last of those bullets tomorrow. I got a loaner gun that I'm going to go to the range with and do a video on. I'm not going to tell you what it is, though. And I'm going to try to take my 308 air rifle to the range with me, too, and test out a new product that I got that screws on it, if y'all know what that means. So that's what I got coming up.
Pretty neat. Pretty neat.
Go ahead, CW. Thanks for being here, Ricky.
I've got a bunch of videos coming out. I didn't check before I went online here, but I know I've got a bunch of them coming out. I've been throwing in extras instead of doing just the two videos. So I got a couple of fill-ins this coming week. Got a couple of new things in. I got a couple of new offers on more things coming in, so it's going to be good stuff coming up. I've got videos posted through the end of July, so we got a lot going on and a lot more to work on. So fun stuff. Looking forward to hear how the shoot goes. Well, we're gonna have one more Friday before you guys go, right? Yeah, one more Friday.
Yeah.
So okay. All right. Well, unless we lost
then.
Mike along the way, I guess, huh? He had bad service. Did he?
Hillbilly.
No, I know Hillbilly left.
Oh, Mike had a coughing attack.
Oh, okay.
He had to bail out. Mike, Rebel, we hope you feel better, bro.
Yeah, we hope you're feeling better.
Yeah.
So I guess that's all. I appreciate each and every one of you guys on the panel, and we really appreciate all of us appreciate all you guys on the side chat and all you guys viewing. I think we're going to finish up. We'll do some more Winchester stuff, the 1895 next week, and then finish up Marlin the week after that, and then we're going to have a couple of weeks of
wild card stuff,
free for all. Just
yeah.
Focus on our viewers and what they want to talk about, and I think that's going to be fun.
Yeah, that'll be good.
Should have one week or one part of a week on all the other stuff we talked about. All those superfluous levers, the more modern ones.
Yeah, after we do that, that's what we'll start getting into.
Yeah, I don't know that it'd be we can break it out to a show for each one or not. I don't think there's enough there, but I think it deserves a mention because it's something in lever actions that maybe people who aren't lever action, aficionados still can appreciate because they're more modern.
Yep.
Break down the pros and cons of modern lever guns.
Yeah, well, you got the Winchester 88, you got the Marlin. I mean, you got the Browning 18 BLR.
Savage 99.
Savage 99 and 95.
Glenn Davis wants us to talk about the falling block. Maybe we'll do that on a couple of our
they're
free for all.
Some people call them levers, but they're actually falling blocks and single shots. But and then you got Henry's got a couple of new ones. They got a Long Ranger and they've got the Supreme.
Yeah, but
they deserve mentions. They're levers, and they're striving for the market, and they're a little more popular for today's modern shooters.
Well, it blends old school with new school.
Well, they come in modern calibers. They're not the old rimmed.
Yep.
They're not the old rimmed. There's some ultra modern stuff thrown in those guns. So.
Yep.
You can get them in Creedmoor. You can get them in 223. 308. So. More modern calibers.
Those falling blocks are incredibly accurate, guys.
Yeah, they're beautiful guns too.
Yeah. So we need to get out of here and clear the way. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
We need to clear the deck for Chad, and let's talk about bench rest. So y'all go check out Chad and Hillbilly and all the guys over there, and just remember that we love you and there ain't nothing you can do about it. We hope the Lord blesses you all real good. And if he's willing, we'll see you next Friday night at 8 o'clock. Say good night, y'all.
Good night, everybody.